Thank you all for being here. My name is Richard Hudson, North Carolina's 8th District. I'm the conference secretary. The Biden administration's ATF is attacking our Second Amendment and attacking our veterans. Crime is up for sure, and Republicans are ready to address that, but Democrats are determined to go after law-abiding citizens and our Second Amendment rather than deal with the real issue. One example of that is the ATF regulation on stabilizing braces. Stabilizing braces were designed for disabled veterans to enable them to exercise their Second Amendment rights. This regulation turns law-abiding citizens, including our decorated combat veterans, into criminals, into felons actually. Republicans have introduced many ideas and solutions to lower crime and to prevent gun violence. But this rule punishes law-abiding citizens and veterans. Today, our call to action is very simple. If you're listening to this out there and you care about this issue, go to hudson.house.gov and you can go link directly to the ATF and make a comment and tell them to withdraw this terrible rule. You've got until September 8th, but go today to hudson.house.gov. I want to thank our Whip Scalise, Ranking Member Bost, and these veterans who are standing behind me for joining us here today. Before we hear from our whip, I want to introduce Rick Cicero. Rick is a former police officer and a retired Army paratrooper. In 2010, Rick and a K-9 were injured by an IED while in Afghanistan. The blast caused Rick to lose his right leg and did significant damage to his right arm. Since then, Rick has been a champion not only for our military and our veterans, but also for the Second Amendment. Rick is the gentleman for which the original brace was designed to help. And we look forward to hearing Rick tell his story here. Rick, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service to our country. Rick, please come forward.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to be here today on the grounds of the Capitol. 10 years, 357 days ago, my life made a drastic change. Within that change, it was a development of new lifestyles, techniques, equipment, and technology. Within that technology was a fellow paratrooper named Alex Bosco, who created the original brace. That gave me the ability to get back out and shoot things that I never ever expected I would be able to again. Because prior to the amazing technology at Walter Reed that I have now, my prosthetic arm would fall off at the drop of a hat. This gave me so much more, and my life changed drastically. Within that, among my other talents, is I'm a senior firearms instructor. I took my skills that I had prior to my injury, I relearned to shoot again, and I am the guy who actually developed the techniques that the brace was designed to be used for. I wrote the lesson plans at Sig Sauer Academy, and for the last several years, I've been traveling the country teaching veterans how to shoot again. That brace is the foundation of everything I did around the country and continue to do today, because I can take someone who has limited strength in their hands or is missing digits and give them the confidence and the skills and the capability to grasp a firearm again and get them back to the things that brought them, that was so much part of their life as firearms in being a soldier. And that is a big piece of who we are today. This is just a fraction of where this can go. I can't tell you the life-changing aspects it has. One instance that I had that'll never ever leave me. I was teaching at Brooke Army Medical Center for the Center for the Intrepid in San Antonio, Texas. And I had a young man who had half of a finger, and that was all he had. And I took him out there with a braced firearm, and I took him on the range, and in about 30 minutes, I had him hitting a target consistently at 25 yards every single time with his one little digit. And it completely changed his perspective. No other tool in the world could do that. I'll leave you with a thought. There are things out there that are used sometimes properly, sometimes improperly. Everything has a learning curve. That brace is a wonderful piece of equipment. And yes, there are people that we can teach out there to use it better, but don't take it away because somebody doesn't understand it. Knowledge is power, and we're here to spread it. Thank you very much, and it's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. I'd now like to introduce my good friend and a strong champion for the Second Amendment, our Republican whip, Steve Scalise from Louisiana. Steve.
Well, thank you, Richard, for your leadership, and Rick and all of the other veterans that are here before us. Thank you for your service to our country. We wouldn't be able to express our freedoms if you hadn't risked your life for ours. And the least we can do when you come back home is ensure that you can live life to the fullest. And so we understand the sacrifices you made, but it's perplexing. It is perplexing to see how the Biden administration is trying to take away the Second Amendment rights of our disabled veterans by trying to go after these pistol stabilizing devices that have been so proven to help veterans who are disabled in combat to be able to come and again enjoy life to the fullest, but also exercise their constitutional rights, in many cases who were injured fighting for our constitutional rights. Look, we know the Biden administration embraced the defund police movement. We see crime rising all throughout our country right now. And at that very time when you see more and more families going out and buying guns to defend themselves and their families, for the Biden administration to come and try to take away that right for disabled veterans to be able to use these stabilizing devices so that they could exercise their rights to protect their families is just mind-boggling. And so we're calling on the Biden administration to drop this ridiculous rule that they're trying to impose on veterans and all other Americans. And so in the meantime, between now and September 8th, every American citizen can go to the ATF's website, or is it hudson.house.gov, and link to that website to file your public complaint against this rule. I would urge every American who wants to stand with our disabled veterans and any other American who believes in the Second Amendment and the ability for every law-abiding citizen to exercise those rights to go online now and oppose this rule by the Biden administration. But more than anything, we call on the Biden administration to stop this attack on our veterans and just withdraw the rule. Shouldn't be there in the first place. Let's allow our veterans to exercise their Second Amendment rights since they risk so much in preserving our rights. Turn it back to Richard.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to introduce Pablo Cadena. Pablo joined the Army in 1993 in San Diego, California. During a deployment to Iraq in 2008, Pablo was struck by an RPG, causing significant damage to his left leg. After retiring from the military, Pablo has since worked to support other veterans through our Second Amendment. Pablo, thank you for being here, and thank you for your service to our country. Pablo, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Pablo. My name is First Sergeant Retired Pablo Cadena. I'm a 20-year-plus veteran of the United States Army. I have served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. On June 1st, 2008, while on a routine patrol in Afghanistan, my platoon was involved in a complex ambush. Due to the severity of my injuries, I was medically evacuated to Brooke Army Medical Center. At that time, if I had gone anywhere else in this world, I would have lost my leg. After retiring in 2014, I went through my own kind of depression. My wife saw this, and she voluntold me that I was going to go on a deer hunt with Hero Hunt. Since that time, I've been able to meet the founder and the president of the Hero Hunt. We've become really good friends. I really like the way that he ran the program, and as a result, I started volunteering my time in any way possible. In 2018, I became an ambassador for the Hero Hunt program. Since that time, I've been blessed and asked to become a board member. While working with Hero Hunt, I've been able to use a stabilizing brace, which allows me to be able to also instruct. Stabilizing brace has allowed me to instruct the other wounded veterans and first responders to participate in hunts by using similar braces, without which that due to their injuries, they would not have been able to use with normal stock weapons. As a law-abiding citizen, I cannot understand how the legislation can overreach our forefathers' intent for the Second Amendment. If this overreach is allowed, it would make a majority of law-abiding veterans and first responders criminals overnight. These are the people that answered the call of our great nation. Up to the personal injury and sacrifice payable to this nation. We are the ones running into the firefights, into the fires, and into the domestic disputes. We have carried a variety of these weapons for our country and community almost daily for most of our adult lives. And now with this legislation, blanket mid-intent will essentially make us all criminals. It is a gross miscarriage of the intent of our founding fathers, in my opinion, and a gross miscarriage of lawmaking for political gain, without understanding, unforeseen, or secondary consequences in the effect of the law. It will curb the healthy possibilities of opportunities of those injured, protecting that very lawmaking body and system. I leave you with this one question. Does any of this make sense to you?
That was very powerful. Thank you, Pablo. I'd now like to introduce my good friend and another strong leader on the Second Amendment and a tireless advocate of our veterans, the ranking Republican on the Veterans Affairs Committee, Mike Bost of Illinois. Mike.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you, Pablo, and thank you to all of our veterans here and for your service in uniform and your advocacy here today. It's an honor to stand alongside of these veterans in defense of the Second Amendment. Veterans fought to defend our rights, freedoms, guaranteed by our great Constitution. Anything that would unduly strip veterans of those rights is flat wrong. That's why not only are we talking about this today, but I want to bring up, I introduced Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act. I want to prevent veterans from losing their rights to bear arms simply because a VA appoints someone to help manage a veteran's financial benefits. Let me say that again. When someone is assigned by the VA to have someone manage their financial benefits, they also, and that's also why I'm here to protest the Biden administration's action on this. The ATF proposal could hurt thousands of law-abiding gun owner veterans simply because they use a stabilizing brace. Disabled veterans have given their country enough. The last thing they should be subject to is absurd fines and government overreach. Veterans are no better than anyone, that the Constitution's rights are sacred. They're sacred to them as well. Yet time and time again, we see here in Washington bureaucrats trying to take those rights away. For long as I am the Republican leader in the VA, I will do everything I can in my power to stop this from happening. And with that, I thank them all for being here, and I thank you for the time today, and I hope that you will all join us in getting on the websites, giving your comments, and to explain how important it is not to turn on our veterans on this situation, and would encourage everyone to be involved with that. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ranking Member Bost. I'd now like to introduce Anson Roberts. Anson was assigned to a weapons company at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. During a deployment to Iraq in 2007, Anson was wounded when an IED exploded, causing significant damage to both his left and right hands. Since then, Anson has continued to be a leader and a role model for other veterans. Anson, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service to our country. Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Anson Roberts, Lance Corporal retired from the United States Marine Corps. I served in Iraq in 2007 with Regimental Combat Team 6. I was deployed on an EOD team as a security member for them, so we were constantly dealing with IEDs and situations like that, obviously well known in the war on terror. I was severely wounded in action on April 13, 2007, where I was severely burned on 30% of my body with second, first, and third degree, and my left and right hands are clearly the brunt of that injury. So, taking the SB brace away, or the stabilizing brace, is meant for this exact case, also like Richard and every other veteran out there. But not just veterans, because there's people that are born with all kinds of disabilities that have the same rights that we do, as the Second Amendment protects them, just like every other citizen. So with the ATF, I almost said AFT there for a second, specifically thousands of disabled Americans will be affected by this legislation. It's right, it's wrong for any rule to be taken away. SB, the stabilizing brace, helps individuals being able to shoot once again. It helped me, and it's helped thousands of other veterans, and I'm sure it's helped thousands of other disabled people in America shoot again. Who's some guy sitting in an office here in DC gonna tell me that I can't use the stabilizing brace to help me shoot, or any of these other veterans across the country, across the nation? This is the type of legislation or rules or kind of things that the ATF does on a consistent basis to the Second Amendment, and we're a strong community, don't get that wrong. So we're a solid front in the community to fight the ATF with representatives like Mr. Scalise and everybody else here helping push this law, or whatever you want to say. It's wrong, and it's taking away the self-defense right for me, for my family, or some other person in America that is disabled. I don't have the same strength in my hands or my arms or my legs anymore. Using this device helps me eventually, and God forbid, protect my family. And taking that right away could harm my family or somebody else, you know, in the nation. It's ridiculous, and I believe that that this legislation should be thrown out, and the ATF should just go away. Thank you.
That's powerful stuff. Thank you, Anson. Well, there you have it from the veterans who rely on these braces. They are the face of this issue, and they've traveled many, many miles to be here today. Rick Cicero, Pablo Cadena, Anson Roberts, as well as Wesley Pincence, Joe Towers, Jeff Spring, Larry Thompson, Carlos Angulo, KC Heyer, all standing behind me. They've all traveled a great distance to represent their fellow veterans. Now it's your turn. Visit hudson.house.gov so that you can make your comments known to the ATF. Go to the website today and tell the ATF to withdraw this terrible rule. Together we can make a difference. Together we can stand on behalf of our veterans and on behalf of the Second Amendment. Thank you.